Good evening, everyone. Let's head into Collectively Rewilding. All right, here we are in Collectively Rewilding, and not a tremendous amount has changed from last week to this as far as what anyone could come in and see. But I don't know if you guys have taken a peek at the gardening planner as it's growing. So I definitely want to talk to you all about that. But let's go ahead and open up the floor. I think there's just the five of us here. Does anybody have any questions or anything they'd like to share before we start tearing into the gardening planner?
How have you been?
Good, Kendez. How about yourself?
I'm good. I can't complain.
Very good, very good. How are the cucumbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
They're still growing.
Nice.
Uh, I've been away all week, seeing family out of
Mm,
town, but I got somebody to give them some water while I was away
oh, good.
because they tend to be a little thirsty.
Well, they're going to produce a lot of leaves and fruit if they're doing well, right? And the flowering stage as well. So they grow pretty
hmm
fast and they have to use up that water and the nutrients, right? So are you going to be putting them in ground or
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna go ahead and put them in the ground because they can only grow so much. The roots are already coming out the bottom. So,
absolutely. Now you can do it in containers. I don't really like containers, as you all know, but it can be done. So it's an option. I always prefer in ground. And I would think that you would have pretty decent soils in Georgia. It's not something I've specifically heard of like Alabama, but I mean, Alabama has clay soil, but they also have very fertile soil, right? So
hmm it's all
that's
about how you
Georgia,
cultivate it.
right? So how is your soil in Georgia?
Um, Well, I'm gonna put it in a place where I already got the wood chips that's been there for a while,
Right?
and let it continue to blossom in that area. Um, but I mean, I'm trying to find the best place because of the property, because they're thirsty for both water and the sun. So I'm still trying to plan on what would be the best place to do that because I know it's more of a viney type of situation. It's not like a
Mm-hmm.
stock like the broccoli that's just gonna grow up and be strong. It's gonna be flimsy and long.
Not necessarily flimsy in comparison to a broccoli stalk. Yes, flimsy, but
Yeah.
they're quite
Well,
sturdy. I mean, cucumbers can get quite prolific and be pretty heavy, so they're strong in their way, but they're a thinner plant.
right, but I don't expect it to keep growing up. Like eventually, it's just gonna fall over and become viney, like unless I put it in like one of those things you put tomato things on.
A cucumber cage would be so a tomato cage. You can
Yeah.
also, if it's the right kinds of cucumbers, which I think most are. Let's just ask Google really quickly. But I think most cucumbers can grow up a trellis. You can so
hmm
most cucumbers can be. And so,
hmm
especially if you did get a vining type, and they're going to say all of the reasons why it's good, what to consider, and your trellis types. So, yeah, if you have a vining type and you wanted to, you can do any of these types of things. We're going to do something on a smaller scale like this on our side yard under the arbor that we're going to create, right?
hmm
In the interior of that, we're going to have a cucumber tent, and
hmm
under that, raised bed for strawberries, so that it's going to
Oh,
be like,
nice.
yeah, keeping it cooler. It'll let the strawberries produce fruit for a longer period of time and all that good stuff. And then start off again in the fall, but probably not go quite as long as some of the strawberries that we'll have over here that are in a shadier area but get more direct sun. Those will start
Mm.
again later in the season, but they'll continue later into the season than what those under all that shade probably will, right? Just some thoughts when you're thinking
Mhm.
about using your plants as shade. And so very neat, very neat. Um, my children and my husband love cucumbers. They're not my favorite garden produce. I'll
What's
eat
your
them.
favorite?
If I'm talking about as a substitute for cucumbers, zucchini, I really like it all. Actually,
Hmm.
I just would rather it tasted better. You know, your produce from your grocery store is just, it's not comparable. And there are no really easily obtained fresh local produce. There's
Hmm.
like a co-op-y kind of a situation with a local farm, but you have to pay for the entire season up front. And so
What?
maybe next year we'll be able to do that, but maybe next year we'll be producing some of our own is the real hope. But our soil is rough and they're an established farm. So we may still choose to do that. I like to have bowls of fruits and vegetables overflowing in the kitchen. That's what I really like to do. So, but that's
That's
wonderful
cool.
about your cucumbers. Yeah, and so you have a pretty decent sized property, is that right?
Hmm.
And do you have a lot of shade obstructing it when you're talking about finding the right location where they like the sun? Is there a lot of consideration for that because of shade in your area?
Yeah, because there's already a lot of like established trees and
Hmm.
bushes and all that type of stuff. So
Okay.
finding a spot where something new can grow and proliferate that's not in that raised garden bed, you know.
So
And
your raised garden bed area does get a good amount of sun.
hmm
And why don't you want to put them there?
um because I'm gonna need some type of trellis situation and I gotta figure out how to do that.
Okay, you can do something very basic. If you look at this picture here,
Hmm.
let's see if we can pull it up larger. All right, so that's simple garden twine on some pretty basic wood. So I would think that the costs for, I wonder if I can, let's take this to Gemini. We have to go to a different Gemini because that's the one where we're working on the garden planner. So let's pull up another Gemini. And
It's
we,
called garden twine.
there are different types of it as well. Yes. So there's garden twine that's like original style garden twine that's like a hemp based, typically heavier duty twine. I might have some right here. Yeah. Okay. So this is some really basic, there we go, that's better. Really basic garden twine
Hmm.
or anything. This is actually for my sewing kit. I
Hmm.
just bought some true garden twine that's green, right? But it doesn't matter if it's green. And so very inexpensive, even at Home Depot, which is so much more expensive than Lowe's, which are more expensive than Walmart. Just so that you guys know what the big box stores, price wise, that has been my personal experience. I don't like Home Depot. Okay. They really push the Miracle Grow and stuff like that. Lowe's
Hmm.
does quite a bit as well, but Home Depot, ugh, I don't know. I've never cared for Home Depot. Okay, so I really like local gardening stores and things like that. But of course, just like Walmart pushed out the fish and tackle hunting stores in my hometown, we had two of them. And the minute those stores were gone, they shrunk that area of Walmart.
Mm.
With it, it's just, it's ugly, right? It's ugly. So, okay, anyway, please provide, oh, let's go into the reason in math and code. Get it in there? Yes. Okay. Please provide a cost analysis. I have to go to regular Google for this. I'm not going to be able to find it. I get that article. I think I did. Yes. Okay. And now, there, I got it. Okay. Oh, wrong Gemini. Okay. For the cucumber print frame in the article, link below. I would guess less than $50 to $75, maybe $100 with the cost of wood. But if you can find some, you're not really using the wood for them to buy on. You could even train them not to actually use the wood frame, and you could use reclaimed wood or something like that.
Hmm.
And just train them to use the garden twine, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was thinking about putting some string and just having it go up to the roof. But then I was like, well, what if it just keeps on growing? I don't want, you know, it to take
Okay,
over the
so
roof of the house.
um, yeah, say that last part again. Roof of the house. Whoa, you threw me for a loop there.
Well, it's kind of like the edge that I currently have it growing on, and the ground that's right there, it's like maybe about 5 feet to the top of the roof. So I was gonna eventually do like yarn or some type of twine to grow and kind of be that trellis. But then
Like
I was,
okay, so there's pictures for that as well. Let me share this in there with you, and then we'll actually get one that's more like what you're thinking there. Okay.
Mhm.
They do that on big city buildings and things like that. That's what you're talking about, right?
I think so.
Mm-hmm. Oop, too many. Not enough capitals, actually. All right, so this, let's see if it translates properly. Not completely. Okay. Material, that's not going to work. Okay, so let's take this part out. And to make it go a little bit quicker, we'll export it to sheets, yes, but let's just take a screenshot of this little projected cost sheet right there. What happened? Did it go up above? Okay, that's what happened. All right. Let's delete this then. Delete. Okay, there we go. And provided by Gemini, we'll put up above. Okay. And make this, oops, bolded and underlined. Okay, now we'll post that. And let's go and check out, I'm not even sure what it would be called. Let's see, let's hop in here. Roof to ground canopy trellis. See if they have one for cucumbers. No, that's not what we're talking about. See, it's a vertical canopy. That's what you're talking about. Let's see about images. Those are not images, those are shopping, guys. There's a difference. Okay. So more like this, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Okay. So is that a helpful visualization for you?
Yeah, I just didn't know. I didn't know how big it was gonna be, like how long it's gonna grow.
Oh, where is this silly thing that they're talking about? Oh, there we go. Okay, nice. All right. So they have it hooked underneath the awning, right? The eaves of the roof,
Mm-hmm.
not awning, and down into the little raised bed that's on
Mm-hmm.
pavers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's growing up above the roof. All right, very cool. So we'll grab this for your post. Okay.
Nice.
And did you want um, any more detail? Did the picture cover it for you pretty well?
Well, yeah, I just didn't was worried about how much more it was gonna grow past the roof.
Well, you could always stop it too if you don't want it to grow above the roof, right?
Okay.
You can trim it off at the top. Just trim it off. Keep trimming it off. Won't stop it from, in fact, it'll put more energy into the stuff down below.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Very
Well,
neat.
thank you.
Absolutely. Anything else we can walk through with you to help you put up that really neat idea?
Mm, I just gotta find some anchors and some twine and let it happen.
They actually, with theirs, let's see, do I still have it up? Yes. Okay, this one. This is
Yeah.
a plant net. This is specifically for plants. It's not just twine. It's a plant net, and I still don't think it would be very costly
Okay.
because it's essentially a wide net woven from plant twine, right? And it's
hmm
not hand woven. It's obviously gene woven. Sad is a statement of our overall world, but that's true of what this is. So again, not a tremendous cost. In fact, if you aren't building the frame, this will be less for you than what that estimate was that we shared with you, right? From
Okay.
Gemini. It'll be
Okay.
significantly
Cool.
cheaper if you don't have to build the bed. If your bed is already right there by that and you can hook
hmm
it in something like this, that will be extremely, extremely cost effective,
mm
right?
Well, I was gonna put it in the ground just
Okay, yeah,
because, because
why not, right?
there's
You'll want to
other
put
like.
some good structure that you're holding it down and make sure that it's on solid beams up above. That's a lot of, you know what, let's see if they talk about that in the Reddit discussion. Cut it in sections and strung it over the plants. And it worked out great. I wonder what cut it in the section and strung it over the plants meant. Okay, cucumber growing in 3 different places. Okay, so this is a picture of one of the places where he's done something like this for cucumber. And
hmm
this is a good amount of weight, right? Especially if you're going to go in the ground where you're not going to constrain it necessarily this direction. You want to
hmm
make sure that you're putting it on the support beams. Don't put it on just something, silly and get good, strong plant hooks or something to the like that will
hmm
support that. And I would put it at every single support beam that you had under your eaves. So let's just
hmm
look at a picture, right, for that. Okay. Picture under eaves. Okay, so that's not a good example because their eaves are hidden. Okay, so you want to find studs then. Okay,
hmm
definitely. Because that's true. I imagine, yeah, I know exactly. That's exactly what it is under our porch, at least for sure. And I would
hmm
imagine that it's something like that for the majority of us anymore. You're not going to see the open beam any longer. So you have to find your studs in that.
Well, I mean, usually they have like little clips nowadays. You think those will
Big hook,
suffice?
big hooks. Okay, big old fashioned. I'll show a picture. Finding studs in. Okay. Yeah. So it's just going to be your typical stud finder method, right?
hmm
And sometimes if you're finding a lot of metal, verify, like it's even saying with the tapping method, if you find a
hmm
lot, because maybe there's, some components metal, you got to add that tapping in there, right?
hmm
And then wrong plant hook, we'll start with that. I'm like industrial level, traditional, I'm going to say traditional because you could just use a cheap traditional wrong. No, I don't like any of those. I mean, that's perhaps stronger, but it's not at the right angle for you. I'm talking just your good old fashioned. I have some. Okay, I'm talking like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hardcore heavy duty, and at every eave along the way that you can find, or
Okay.
set in your eave that you could find. Now something like this, if you want to go decorative, it'd be kind of tilted, right? But that's a little bit stronger. You could do something like that, but I would just go cheap and go get your basic ones. They have it in silver, gold, probably black, white. Like you can just go get
I'm gonna
some
get it in
very.
diamond. That's what I want to do that.
I'm sorry, say it again.
I said I'm gonna get mine in diamond.
Mine and diamond. I don't know the reference. I don't think.
Oh, because you said you can get it in silver, gold, and so I'm gonna get mine in diamond.
Okay. I don't think that they quite are going to have rhinestones of that particular type. You can just about get anything covered in rhinestones or diamonds these days, but yeah, probably not your plant hook. Funny stuff. All right, so really cool. I definitely hope that you share pictures with us. That's a really fun project that you've got planned out there, Kindes, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Thank
All right. Anything else you'd like to share with the group or talk about or find resources for?
you. Not really. I mean, I was just going through some like mind power stuff, and I was just like, it was just profound. It says, because it was like, how do you find your belief system barriers? And it's just like, well, it's easy. Just look at any problem area in your life, and then they said, why else would you be experiencing problems and difficulties?
Okay, so you're out there diving deep, it sounds like. Very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, anyone else? Stuff to share, questions to ask? All right. Well, let's dive into our gardening planner, guys. I am really, really starting to get it fleshed out and getting ever more excited. I shouldn't say really, really excited. I've been so excited since the idea became a thing, right? I want to give a person credit because it was really completely in collaboration with the things that I was setting up for us here with Julia May being our guide, and then in collaboration with Gemini. And that's why I realized that we needed that rewilding element and that there were just no resources out there for it at all. And so now everything is so much more fleshed out than I figured it would be at this point. We're only in September, just the beginning of September as it is. And we already have so many different pieces to start looking over. And my computer has been incredibly slow today. Doesn't want to generate that image. We don't need the image. All right. So you start off with great information on using that journal, using this planner, the whole piece of it together. You guys will also have access to the online printable variation of the actual garden planner, right? So that'll be fun too. And then you have measuring. You want to make sure that you have some idea of what your property is. You have easy to a little bit more mathematic and scientific in base to a techie way to create your measurements and base for planning your garden and your yard and all of your entire area, right? Tracking sun and shade patterns, finding your growing zone, and I believe that's everything. Yes, and so that's going to be our January focus in this area. So I'm really excited. It'll actually be the theme for the overall year for our first year. We'll have different themes each year, but the first year we are all working on that garden. We've all struggled in our various ways, and we have, well, Kenda's, I don't know if you've actually struggled. I can't remember. Did you have some that you didn't really find that did so well, but you had some that were pretty successful? Is that right?
Oh yeah, I had like 40 seeds, and out of those 40 seeds, 8 of them are grown. like
Are you talking
really
about the
small.
cucumbers now, or didn't you have plants this spring into and through the summer?
Well, I had the broccoli.
That's right. Okay. And so your broccoli did well, right?
And
Hmm.
before that, there was a time I was just trying it on the side of a house, like maybe 4 or 5 years back with some squash. And I think
Okay.
I got one flower, and then the neighbors thought they were doing me a favor and chopped it all down with a weed eater.
Oh no.
And
I've had similar help from neighbors. Yes. Yes, I have.
but other than that, it's always been a journey. I don't
Hmm.
plant one seed and hope for that one seed is going to do it.
Oh no.
I
Okay.
go in planting lots of seeds.
Right. Absolutely. All right. And so most of us struggled with what we had going on this year. Ken does is our exception. And so then we have February, again, building on that whole idea of utilizing the actual planner and journal. It's a planner because it's got all the schedules to help keep you on track as you go along, to give you the information you need, to motivate you to do it, all these different things. And then the journal is where you can even sketch the plants or the birds or even insects or add pictures, things like that, right? Get creative. There's a lot of artistic elements that can get added to our work inside the planner and the journal. It all depends on what we each want to do. If we want to have a more utilitarian, very clear cut, that's what my husband would want, right? He'd want it to be just everything outlined just perfectly, and he'd want to put everything in straight, not row gardening with bare soil or anything, but all the garden beds should be square lines. And, so from that to my own style, which is I don't want to have exactly a cottage look, but that messiness and the freedom and the wild element is much more my style. I like lots of curved lines. And so it's really up to each of us. What our individual characteristics are will show up in our individual garden planner and journals. So really a lot of fun. We'll have grids that are out there, little templates that you can cut out. The printable version or the printed version, as in the physical copy that one could buy at the store, will have some really neat elements built into it, but we can already use it if we're printing it at home, and there will always be that free variation that anyone will be able to print at home after we test it out over the next year as our theme here in Collectively Rewilding, right? And so then you're going to the composting, and there's quite a bit on composting because composting is, I think, the most consistent question that we've had come up here in Collectively Rewilding. And there's quite a bit to it. It's not that complicated, but you want to really understand what you're doing so that you can have the best results into dealing with even pests, right? And it goes all the way down to a seasonal compost calendar. So the majority of February is dedicated to that compost information. I'm not sure that a lot more will get added to it. It's where we're really tracking those sun patterns and figuring out our garden layout that we want to try for. As the season progresses, you almost always will find that you want to modify something, right? So that's why I say try for, not that we can't accomplish what we're trying for, but that we may modify what we decide we want to actually put in the ground when it comes to moving further and further as we continue on through the season. And so heading into March, that is pretty well filled out, I think, as well. All of these great pieces, and I've gotten into June. I have not yet touched on July and the following parts of the season. That's what I'm getting ready to work on now. And so this is what you'll all have access to. I'm going to put it in the overview, a link to this online variation that you guys could already print at home. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm going to change it quite heavily. It's going to look completely different than what it does now. I've realized that I don't have the order that I want with what I have as these tabs as I'm putting it together for you all. I'm realizing that I have different parts of it in a further part of the planner than I want because I also want the printable and the physical copies to go also in line with the seasons, to just make gardening as approachable as possible. And it's going to have everything from just letting your yard go a little crazy in a more wild and natural approach up to very specific gardening parameters, right? And so anybody can find their niche and what they want their individual spaces to be like. It will also have container gardening information for those like Wendy who aren't at the point where they're able to work with the ground and the property, right? We'll include community gardening as well, will be worked into all of this. And I'm pretty sure that it's already in there, but I do want to double check. Okay. And so that's what we'll all contribute to and be a part of as we work through the course that we have here. Excuse me. Now, I know that Julia wanted these two spaces, stay tuned, to have a simple one tab, right? As we are aware, where healthy soil creation and all the other spaces that we participate in have more than one tab a lot of times. Well, in her mind and in her way of planning, she sees these as singular, just one, not two different tabs, three different tabs, whatever the case may be. I'm not sure if we will have a separate class for this space or if this is what we'll work through in healthy soil creation, right? So please feel free always to weigh in on all of it, every part of it. That's why you guys are already invited into the space so that you can look at it and see what it's all about and see if there's a typo somewhere or see if there's something that you think should be included that hasn't been included, and all that different fun interaction that we'll have over this next year starting in January. But we get that sneak preview where we get to come in and tear it apart before we're actually working the course. So a lot of fun coming up. I think it's going to be a tremendous resource for our community, and I really hope to see some interaction from a larger audience continuing to come in. I think that this is something that we have that no one else has, just as what Mighty Networks offers is that there are no gardening forums or survival forums or online forums of any sort that have feeds, courses, interactive classes. You can do like we do over in Lesko Help too, where Matthew Lesko comes live as an individual inside the internal structure of Lesko Help 2. I don't utilize that format myself. I like being able to share conversations, but that's an opportunity that's here. And so all of these things together, that you can have pages, so you can have singular events. There's so much that you can do within what Collectively Rewilding is, what any platform that hosts themselves on Mighty Networks can do. And I really think that this gardening planner, this hybrid garden planner and journal, this entire package is really going to be something that people take notice of and start coming in and joining us and interacting with us. So we have our core, we have those people that are already really excited about doing this and know each other and work together and we're friends. And then we'll have new people coming in that ask the questions, that need that direction and need that encouragement and all of that wonderful environment, getting more content creators in, all of this different energy that we'll continue to build on through the years. And I'm just really excited to share it with you guys. And I think that we have one heck of a core group for our community with, I have listed here, I did it all super nice because I had it all scribbled over here so I wouldn't keep misremembering where everybody lived, and I printed it up. And so for our core group, we have about 10 to 12 different people. And I think it's an amazing set of people who live literally coast to coast. And what an amazing group to get to interact with ever more newcomers and build that energy and talk to new people who don't know what we know as we go forward, and having people come in that know things that we don't know yet and sharing that with us, and just this big beautiful ball of outdoor and agricultural pursuits that we continue to build on through the years, right? So one of our themes could be like do it yourself, building things such as portico in your backyard, or the arbor that we're going to build over here, or perhaps building in a pathway of pavers, right? We could have a year on things like that. We could have a year on, and we will have a year on, and eventually more than just that year, but it'll start us off with to survive or not to survive when we go out into the environment throughout the year. And I'll have to upgrade with Starlink again so that I can travel with it and perhaps get their travel kit. I may change what we utilize Starlink with and get that travel pack and take you guys out into the woods and out into the desert. We don't have the ocean very close, but technically it's not that far away. We could go over there, but that would be more my husband's field, as well as Misty Folds. She lived in Florida for quite a while, and also in California, and she actually lived in like the Ocean Beach area and down there, you know, right by the coast, whereas my husband's a little bit more inland, but then lived out on Coronado Island and all over the San Diego area. And so coast to coast, there is some knowledge there, but it's not my strength, right? I understand plains much better than I understand coastal areas. Now, lakes, streams, rivers, that's a different story. Of course, that's something that's in my comfort zone, but getting in people that are on those coastal areas that can bring that knowledge in, just so much that we can do going forward as a community. And I would love to hear your ideas. Of course, Miss Tammy, as she becomes a master food preserver and she's really settled into her stuff, perhaps we'll have a year that's themed about canning, freezing, and drying, and whatever else that these wonderful master food preservers can throw our way, right? That would be a really neat themed year, I think. I was looking up to see how hard it is to can peaches and to can green beans. And peaches, Miss Tammy, are you here?
Yes, Sabrina, I'm here.
So I'll let you tell everyone. Does it use the pressure cooker or the water bath method for peaches? Do you remember off the top of your head?
I think it's a water bath.
You are correct. Yes. And I was
I
very
do know something.
Oh, you know a lot. Don't tell yourself. I haven't answered your text yet, but I saw what they're asking you to do, and I'm just so happy and excited.
I'm super excited. Yeah.
But let's save that for your class this weekend, right? And if you're ready to increase to an hour at any point, you just let me know, okay?
For sure.
Oh, I'm so excited for you, though. I will respond when I have a moment.
Yeah.
But would that be interesting to you after you've gotten your certification and
yeah, for sure,
for a year or two, having a theme for the entire year built around your
like fall, winter, spring, and
all of it, right?
That'd be cool because you can only grow things at certain times, and yeah, for sure.
Yes, but you can only and do all that for a certain period of time as well. But you can talk about how you utilize the canned, frozen, and dehydrated, as well as outdoor drying. That's actually my favorite variation of drying food, but I don't have any experience in it. I just have the theoretical knowledge, right? And so that's where you and I can start putting some of this out there and pushing my mom back into it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm down.
Right? And so then she'll have been worked into it for a while there as well. And she's got her little garden space that she and my dad have agreed to for wildflowers. Perhaps she'll get a little bit more and more into it with us, and maybe we can talk her into a little bit more canning and in her life. Perhaps she can find someone who's interested in the Cortez area that would like to be her intern, as you are, and are moving out of so quickly here towards the projects that you're working on. So excited for you. Maybe we can pull that all together, and I'll help with the freezing and the outdoor dehydrating. That can be the area that I put the hands-on experience in with your guidance. Does that sound good?
Sounds like a plan to me. I'm
Oh, I
down
love
like
it. I'm so excited. And see, this is what is so neat about working within all three of these communities, Lesko Help 2, Quimby Academy, and Collectively Rewilding, because we get to learn how to fund what we want to do, whether it's in the garden or with the RV, right? I may look into the auctions and things like that we talk about in Lesko Help 2 for getting that RV that I'm going to utilize to take out for the classes for to survive or not to survive. And then with Quimby Academy, the only reason we're doing these themes that are so much fun and so exciting to plan and put together is because of the interaction with Julia May's Mighty Networks of Quimby Academy. And that's why I decided I wasn't going to hesitate about talking about all three communities, because they drive each other. They're really amazingly valuable. And when I was working in Quimby today and talking with one of the gentleman that's in there, he hosts a community for men. And I know some people get a little bit upset, but there is a real need for men to have support networks for themselves as well. They've been bashed on now, for about 60 years, right? It started in the 60s, and there's some justification to some of the commentary and the situations and the progression and the freedom that my husband and I am so blessed. I have no authoritarian measures from my husband in any way. We have this completely free relationship where we both completely support each other and know what we're doing and just continue to pursue it, only encouraging each other, never trying to control or dominate or force one direction or the other. And so all of that was a beautiful path to go. But now, men don't know how to be men anymore. All this toxic masculinity. And to me, the words toxic masculinity are somebody who is violent in their actions towards others. Some of the big description that's out there in the media, I like a strong man. I like a man who likes to be a man that's going to get out there and get dirty. I'm very grateful for the work that my husband does. And I'm also grateful for any other type of masculine energy. But men do need to be able to find a place to support each other and feel like maybe they're not always the bad guy. And fathers who are not married to the mothers of their children have sometimes very desperate plights. And so he's got a community that is about encouraging and supporting men to be those healthy, strong, happy, positive role models and inside themselves to feel that positivity. And he has had some amazing suggestions that I'm going to be implementing here in our community. And so that community, that online community, is such an amazing support network for all of us. And we can also learn how to take that outside of that online community. And that's where Collectively Rewilding really comes in. And as we grow and have more members, I encouraged a gentleman from Florida, from Miami-Dade, to join our community out of Lesko Help 2 as well. He had some questions that I could provide resources for him in LH2, but we talk about that topic all the time on a much broader scale here in Collectively Rewilding. And Tammy Larson has shared so many really, really pointed topic articles that went to what he was talking about. And so, of course, I'm going to give him all of those wonderful resources from LH2. And then I'm going to encourage him to come in and talk about that whole idea of the land and how to find the best properties and find out what it is that he really wants to dial in on and can look for as what is a property in his area. He wants to move, looking into the climate and the things like that for where he wants to move to after he's taken the resources from LH2 to make that move, right? It's an amazing way that we all interact together. And I really feel like we've all grown so much from that interaction as communities. And I hope that you guys see that as well. And that's why I talk so freely about the three different communities, because each one is a big part of what will make it work for us to accomplish a lot of our goals. And the reason that collectively rewilding is going to become the much more vibrant, interactive, and I don't want to say professional. We're not trying to present this, professional mean. We're very structured, in a very free, healthy, bright, happy type of structure, but it is structured. And that's where these themes come in. That's the structure that we haven't had previously. The more, professional touches that Miss Julia May is able to add to the community, and then following those instructions that she has for becoming your best host within the community. And the real truth of being the best host is being the best able to bring out the unique and wonderful qualities of the members of any given community and let them shine and showcase what they have going on, as Kendez did during the beginning of our session tonight, right? That is the true goal, having us all working together, sharing our individual stories. We're all the heroes of our own journey. And that's what we want to showcase here, the struggles and the successes, because every hero has to struggle to have a true accomplishment at the end of their journey, right? But the neat thing about a community is the journey doesn't end. We just continue to have new struggles that we overcome and gain insight and value and community from, right? So really, really excited about what we have coming up, what you guys are all doing, hearing about what you're all doing out in the various different climates and environments. It's just so amazing. Let's jump into our calendar. And our next class is with Miss Tammy this weekend on Saturday, September 6th at 12 o'clock noon Pacific time, 1 o'clock p.m. Mountain, 2 o'clock p.m. Central, and 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern. And I will be back with you this Sunday, September 7th at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific, 8 o'clock Mountain, 9 o'clock Central, and 10 o'clock Eastern. All right, guys. Oh, and we are going to have a special soil creation class. And I've lost all train of thought, and this happens when you're going on these lives and talking about a million things. But we're going to have a special session on, oh, I do remember. Let me share my screen one more time really quickly before we all say goodnight. It came up today in Country Living and Business Plus Pets that, finding these free deliveries of wood chips doesn't always work out from getchipdrop.com. And then I was getting ready to start working through calling a bunch of different organizations that trim trees here in my area. And I would also like to approach the nonprofit element of my local energy source, electricity. Rocky Mountain Power are under the Pacificor power structure, and this is their giving element, their nonprofit, foundation, charity, right? All of these words work. Corporations have to have that element. And so I want to start working with them to get them to start utilizing getchipdrop.com in all of the different areas where they work. And we can, of course, then apply that structure to all of your areas to work with your local overall power company's charitable foundation and get this getchipdrop.com just going strong everywhere so that it's much easier for more people to get these free wood chip drops and save that from going into landfills, right? Like such a valuable situation. And so we're going to have probably several special classes of, oh my goodness, they have the two titles have just clashed in my head. Our Monday class, regenerating the organic healthy soil, right? So we'll have some special classes on Wednesdays is what we're going to do. And that will be something fun to look forward to. It's going to have to be earlier in the day. So let's just actually take a quick peek at the calendar and let's go help too. so that I can better judge when that will work for us all. It's a very busy day. Okay, so it is going to have to be, okay, that's completely taken up. They go from 1 to 2:30. We can actually do it. We can squeeze it in and do like a 30 to a 45-minute class, which is perfect for what we're going to do. And I may just create a whole new class that has a finite end, probably. We'll see. But this will be something that we'll do to work on so that everybody can see the process for getting their electrical companies in touch with getchipdrop.com so that all the consumers from those companies can benefit that are interested in getting free wood chips. So something for us to look forward to coming up on our own calendar here in Collectively Rewilding. And we will walk through that, and we'll also post that in Lesko Help Too so that they can see that process as well. It's just a lot easier for us to work in the arena of gardening and calling all these places because it's so specifically my own topic. But I don't want Let's Go Help Too to miss out on it. However, I want to do the branding and the coloring all for our community and work through our community because the topic is just too important to our community while it's just a side note in Let's Go Help Too as a resource, not even a grant, right? There's no funding involved. You're just getting free stuff, which definitely is a part of Let's Go Help Too, but does in this particular moment fit our community here in Collectively Rewilding a little bit better. All right. So please feel free to unmute everyone and say goodnight. I hope you all have a fabulous tomorrow.
Sabrina, can I ask a question real quick?
Oh, please, Vanessa.
Sorry.
No.
It was from last week when you were saying about the fertilizer for the women. The men, is that basically just for the deterrent of animals? Because I know you were saying like the women, you store it for like 6 months before you use
Men and women. Men and women. It doesn't matter. You can store it for 6 months and use it as a fertilizer.
But I'm thinking like how you say they could just go and do it on the plants and stuff. That wouldn't be like for fertilizer. Would it be more?
It would. It's you don't want to directly do it on your food producing plants or even right next to them in the soil because it hasn't had that 6 months. What is the word? It's not, I wanted to call it pasteurization. It's not pasteurization. It's hygienization is the term that it goes through. Okay. Pasteurization involves some other processes. I absolutely agree. It really isn't, but I didn't have a better word for it. So I went to Gemini and asked, and it's called hygienization. And it takes, and there's already a lot of bacteria naturally in our bodies and in our waste, right? Whether it's urine or excrement. And the thing is that you can have some less desirable bacteria in there just because we all get that through and our body flushes it out. And if we're not sick, it's not even something we ever worry about. But allowing that hygienization, it will allow the good bacteria that's in there in that heated environment as it's decomposing into urea or ammonia, right? We talked about that, that it will allow the good bacteria to kill out all the pathogens. And that's why we want to wait for 6 months where it's actively warm enough for that decomposition process to be taking place to allow those pathogens to get cleaned up by nature out of our natural fertilizer. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you put it directly in the ground, though, it is already a fertilizer, yes, but you don't want to do it directly by your food. But if it's not by your food, right, like if it's an ornamental garden or your lawn or something like that where you're not growing any kind of food, then it's a wonderful pest deterrent as well.
Yeah, like around the fence for the snakes or stuff like that.
All of it. Absolutely.
Coyotes, because my mom has a lot of coyotes at her house, around her house.
Yeah. And another thing that you can do if you want to be more private about it and you have a bigger property is have an area where man especially, right, it's easier and it's a stronger deterrent if they urinate on a bale of hay. And then you can, put on your gloves and stuff and take that after you've done it for a month or so, right? And take that and you can spread it out and put it out like that without having to be quite so public about being in the spot that it's at, right?
Mhm.
That you want that deterrent.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. And we can definitely talk about pest deterrence more in depth next week, Vanessa. Okay. Just don't let me forget.
Okay, thanks.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So please feel free,
Sabrina-
unmute, say good night.
Sabrina, real quick, where
Uh-huh.
would you want me to post the like pests in the hacks? Where would you like me to post that type of stuff?
If it's about insects, you know what? Let's
Like-
just, oh gosh, I don't know. Let's you and I talk about that. I'm not sure.
Like if
I haven't really fleshed out exactly what I want to do there. It's kind
Yeah,
of
I posted a few today, and I was
Mhm.
like, I don't know if it go in the pollinator, but I put it in the the garden hacks right there, and then you can move wherever you want it to move it.
I think that's probably more real. I think that's a better
Okay,
idea.
yeah, because it tells you like how to like prevent them, and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
cool.
go with that. All right.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
All right. Thank you, my dear. All right, guys, I think we're ready. Are we ready? Okay, we can unmute and say goodnight, everyone.
Good
night.
night.
Good night, guys.
Good
Bye.
night.
See you all tomorrow, hopefully. Lots going on through the rest of the week, and I guess now on Wednesdays as well. Whew. All right. Bye, guys.